Okay. Yeah, it's fine. The equivalent of like shoving all of my trash underneath a rug. Amazing. Expert. Yo, what's good, Adam? How you doing? How goes it? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Those are like some of the best memes ever. I like absolutely love them. Uh, Also a banger song. So I can love it ironically and unironically. It's perfect. Uh, Shoving all your trash under a rug sounds like modern Marvel, so it fits. You know what? That's kind of perfect. It's very apt. I actually don't think I bought any Marvel comics this week. Not that I don't think I was like interested in any. I know the new. Thank you. I know the new Blade came out this week. Um, but my box is like so full. I'm so backlogged on actually picking up comics. It is insane. But I got the stuff that like I really. Why do you do this? But I got the stuff that like I was really like super interested in getting. Like I ended up getting both World's Finest issues 16 and 17. I ended up getting the Cliff Chang variant because it's like a Bronze Age variant for World's Finest, and I mean it's not only appropriate for the time period, but it's Cliff Chang, and I just love this era of DC. Not that I want to go back to this era of DC necessarily. I mean, I'm technically going back and reading this book, and this is a Bronze Age throwback comic, but I don't want the DC universe now to go back to this era. I don't want it to regress to this era necessarily. I just like going back. It's just kind of comfy to go back sometimes. But yeah, this book has been great. Actually, it's kind of funny that I had that whole tangent about going back to the old DC when the issue 16 cover I got was the Libramejo one, which I think is just completely indicative of contemporary DC comics. But yeah, man, no, I'm really liking this book so far. I had problems with it the first time around. Like I had issues with the first like 2 or 3 issues. I feel like in general, a problem that I have with Mark Waid is that we just view Superman not entirely differently. He comes from a different era, and he's also a Superman fan on top of that. And sometimes the problem with fans writing characters is that a writer will, if they love a character in like a fanboyish kind of way, I hesitate using that terminology, but when writers use characters in or like when they get a chance to write characters, their favorite characters, they sometimes like they play them with kid gloves. At worst, at best, they turn them into like Mary Sue's. I feel like Superman was kind of riding that trail at the beginning of the run, but as time went on, Mark Waid gave Superman some much needed dimension, and I'm really liking Mark Waid's voice for Clark in this book. Yes, this is great. What else did I get? Also, this came out a couple weeks ago, but I passed it up just because I think there's just too many comics coming out that week. But I got the Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, the first issue. I really like this variant. The one that I really wanted had a tear in it, so I didn't get it, and I'm a little irritated. But I really liked I don't know. The vibe of this book is just weird. It's very pulpy. Um, like the protagonist, Christopher Chaos, is he's kind of got that like super genius thing going on, but he's just very aloof, and that puts him in predicaments that I think are very interesting. He also lives in a world that is very heightened, just by nature. That's where like some of the pulpiness comes in. Like you got these ghosts who are hunting down a werewolf. It's like an order of ghosts. And the paneling and like the way it's drawn. This is Isaac Goodhart. So I assume they do like the pencils, the inks, and the coloring. Just absolutely breathtaking. I love this. This is like right up my alley. This is great to read. At least for me, this was great to read alongside Top 10, which I did order. Was a bitch to order because it was expensive, and I don't want to think about it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and or I guess this. I haven't read Top 10 yet, but yeah, this has been really cool. Just look at this. This paneling is dope. So yeah, no, I'm super excited to like finish this up and see where this book goes. Yeah, this is really cool. I just want good stories with writers who are dedicated. Yeah, I mean, me too. I think that's anybody. Or I think most people. I'd say not anybody, but definitely most people. Good mentality you got. As long as you're not the comic book guy from The Simpsons, bro. I already crossed that threshold. I'm comic book guy from The Simpsons. I don't even know what you're like referencing in in that regard. Was it me talking about like going back? I mean, like, yeah. I just have like I have weird hot takes about comics and like kind of. I try not to be like snooty and elitist, but like it comes out. So yeah, I'm comic book guy from The Simpsons. My girlfriend's father fucking refers to me as the comic book guy. It's like most of my girlfriend's family, they all refer to me as the comic book guy. So yeah, I'm the comic book guy. What am I gonna do? But when I start to turn into like movie Bob about it, then just find me and just axe murder me. I'll know why. I will know why. Another example for your point, Dan Slott's Spider-Man. When fanboys try too hard to make people take their favorite characters too seriously. That's also a big problem that I have with the Dan Slott run on Spider-Man. I don't want to go in on Dan Slott again because I already have a video on this channel that is just me. Oh, what's up, Tevia? Going in on Dan Slott, but and I really kind of regret making that video, but it's like my most viewed video on the channel, so I'm at an impasse. What do? Do I take that video down, or do I keep it up? I'm probably gonna keep it up. That shows a lot about my character, but I'm gonna keep it up. But yeah, no, I think Dan Slott is one of those guys who loves the character of Spider-Man, but doesn't understand the character of Spider-Man. Or at the very least, I don't think his writing style fits Spider-Man. It was up Supreme. And I think a lot of writers have this. I think there are a lot of writers who love characters, and then they get the chance to write them, and then the book just kind of falls flat. Um, I know, for example, like throwing my hat in that ring. Uh, I love the Flash. The Flash is my favorite comic book character. I love the Flash, and I also love Daredevil. Maybe it's the red. I don't know. Maybe it's something about superheroes in red, but I love those two characters. If I ever got the chance to write for Marvel or DC, do not put me on the Flash. Do not put me on Daredevil. I could maybe crank out a really cool one shot for those characters, but I don't think my writing style would fit the Flash. And I don't think I am. I don't see myself writing a very great Daredevil story. Or I'll say I don't have one in my heart. I don't think I have one in my heart. But I mean, probably on anyone else, yeah, definitely, I do great there. But yeah, no, I think a lot of people have that problem. They love characters and then they get to write them and then it's not great. Or you'll get a whole crew of like people who are fans of what those characters originally were, who just kind of go like, "You didn't get it, bro. You didn't get it." Like you see that with like Grant Morrison is like that with Jeff Johns' run on Flash. I like Jeff Johns' run on Flash. I don't think Grant Morrison or Mark Waid like the John Byrne Superman and every other writer who's written Superman after Byrne and like have, you know, maintained that Byrne style or like those John Byrne sensibilities for the character. So I don't know, it just happens sometimes. So yeah, I don't know. But going back to the whole thing earlier, we were talking about with Dan Slott, I think Dan Slott's one of those guys who genuinely does love Spider-Man, but I don't think it's either a situation where he doesn't get Spider-Man or his writing style doesn't gel with the characters. It's more so the latter probably than the former. I'll hire the guy who shot Aunt May to axe you if you become Movie Bob. Dude, thank you. I think Peter broke his hands though, so he's gonna have a hard time lifting that axe. You could call the Meta Baron though. The Meta Baron will get it done. Actually, dude, I'm going through this bad boy. I actually bought this, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, but it was just a situation where I don't think the story was gelling with me. Like I was reading it and I was like, these are totally my sensibilities, but I wasn't like in the right headspace for it. But I'm in the headspace for this now, dog. It is really good. I just got to the part where the first Meta Baron, or I think it's just called Baron, where okay, so there's this this is a lot. This goes back to fucking Dune because this book is written by Jodorowsky and drawn by Jorge Jimenez, and I totally see where the Dune influence comes from, because this comic is what Jodorowsky fell back on doing when he couldn't make his Dune movie, which thank God, because that thing sounds weird and completely counter to Dune. But the book is really cool, and I'm actually really glad that he did his own thing and didn't really adapt Dune. Because again, I don't think it would have worked as Dune, but it worked as its own thing. And the book hinges on this like intergalactic empire wanting to basically, they're trading with this like really small, really primitive planet that has this like secret power source, and there's a situation in which members of the Empire, like key members of the Intergalactic Empire, they see this power source in action, and soon everyone in the galaxy just bombards this primitive planet and the Baron and everyone on it, all like these fierce warriors, and they're like, no, we're gonna defend our land, we're gonna defend our resources and our secrets, and we're gonna kill everyone who tries to take them from us. And he basically breaks his son's legs so that his son doesn't fight in the war, and everyone in his kingdom dies, while also killing everyone that tried to attack them. So these guys mean business. And as like a peace treaty, the Baron and his son go and they like make a deal with the Empire, and they get to live out the rest of their days in comfortability. But the Baron asks for the Empire to give his son a horse, which horses have been like extinct for, I think, like they say 200,000 years at this point. So his son gets a horse named Shazam, which is really cool. And one day, pirates try to steal Shazam, and the Baron's son, whose legs are broken, but he's still one of these like warriors from this like proud ass warrior planet. The Baron goes and tries to kill the pirates, or I guess the prince tries to go and kill the pirates, but the Baron himself finds out about the thieves, and then he goes and tries to kill the thieves, but accidentally winds up killing his son. And in the process, he gets his legs and his groin obliterated, like just blown clean off. So like, I'm at that point, and now he has to like have this whole like groin and like inner thigh prosthetic, and he doesn't feel like he's a man anymore, so he's like using like these weird, he's like giving up on like sword fighting and martial arts, and he's just, dude, it's crazy. This comic is insane. He interfaces with his rocket through his crotch. He like plugs his crotch into, it's so insane. This is like one of the weirdest comics I've read in a long while, and it's like really scratching my like crazy out there sci-fi itch. Like, I haven't really been watching all the Star Wars stuff. Star Trek, I want to get into it, but it's just never really appealed to me. But yeah, this is like scratching my Star Wars itch real hard, and it's scratching my Dune itch before that movie comes out. So if you guys ever get a chance, definitely check out the Meta Barons. It's really kind of, it's brutal, but it's also whimsical. It's very European. It's very European, I'll say that. But yeah, this book's really good. So that's like one of the books that I'm like really invested in this week. I don't know how I started talking about the Meta Barons, but it's a great comic. Supreme says, what's up, Supreme? I think I already said hi, but just hello again. Hope you're well. I'm doing very well, thank you. On the Flash, as an adult, thoughts on Bart Allen's Impulse days, or Impulse nowadays? Have you come to appreciate the character after reading the 90s Flash material? I have. I think I talked about this last week, and if not last week, the week before. I always kind of got the whole VR thing, and like he aged up because of his powers, like artificially through the Speed Force, kind of. But I don't know. Maybe it's just like looking at everything going on in our world today. and looking at Bart Allen as a character and what they were doing with him in the 90s. I don't know, just that something about the culture of technology really... Bart Allen finally struck a chord with me. Like the whole thing where he was raised in a virtual reality world, and he grew up too fast. There's something there that I really think is fascinating. And my light keeps doing that. I can't fix it. But yeah, no, I really appreciate Bart Allen. I see where some people are coming from in that they wish he didn't become Kid Flash. Maybe it's because time has a way of like normalizing things. But I don't quite mind that nearly as much as a lot of other Flash fans still. Maybe I'll feel differently by the time I finish my Mark Waid Flash read. But for the time being, I still really like the idea of Impulse. And I really like the idea of him ultimately becoming the Flash. I know Mark Waid throws some seeds for Jesse becoming the Flash, and I really like the idea of Jesse becoming the Flash, but I think at the time when she did become the Flash, her powers were gone and she was Liberty Bell. So I guess like Bart was the only other option, but I also really like the idea of Bart Allen having to take on this mantle before he's really ready. And I like that. I like all that on like an idea level. I don't actually like that book. I didn't like it when it came out. I didn't like it when I tried to reread it. You know what it really felt like when I tried to reread it? I think it's like called Flash, Fastest Man Alive. It was definitely a post-Ultimate Spider-Man attempt at the Flash. That book was 100%, like even down to Bart being drawn like Ultimate Peter Parker. That book was... They are looking at Mark Bagley's art, and I'm not trying to put down any artists, but... if you're not going to get Mark Bagley to do it, then don't, don't get Diet Mark Bagley. And don't force some poor artist to, like, try to mimic Mark Bagley's art style if their art style is not already, like, building off of Bagley. So, I don't know, just... Nothing in that book is really good, but on an idea level, I like and appreciate Bart Allen becoming the Flash, because I'm more and more coming around on just Bart Allen as a character. But yeah, no, I guess in my adult years, I'm starting to appreciate Bart Allen. So he says, how do you feel about Superior Spider-Man making a return? Because for me, I don't care about Superior Spider-Man Doc Ock returning because it's not interesting. I mean, I don't find Superior Spider-Man interesting, personally. I just don't. I remember my Dan Slott video, I highlighted that as, like, that was the peak of his run, because I thought he was doing something interesting. The problem is, and I don't want to make this whole stream about me just bashing Dan Slott, but my big problem with Superior Spider-Man is that it is the loud, obnoxious explosions Michael Bay remake of Kraven's Last Hunt. I say as we're getting a Spider-Man video game based on Kraven's Last Hunt later this year. Yeah, everything in that story, everything from Peter being replaced, MJ and everyone else around Peter thinking that, like, the new Spider-Man imposter is acting very weird. Everything from the psychosexual tension between Spider-Man and his nemesis who was impersonating him. Everything from the villain feeling like if I can't beat the hero, I must become him, and being like obsessed with that. It's just it's Kraven's Last Hunt, but like stretched out to like 35 or 40 issues. Like I don't know, man. And Kraven's Last Hunt is better. Like I don't know what to tell you. I don't know, man. It's not even like a situation with like Batman R.I.P. and Court of the Owls, because at the very least, as similar as those two stories are, at least Court of the Owls, I think, looks better than Batman R.I.P. Like, I really like Tony Daniel's art, and I really like the later Sean Connery era James Bond movie that not Tony Todd. I just said his name too. That Grant Morrison and fuck, dude. I'm just gonna look it up because I'm Tony Daniel. Jesus Christ, that was insane. That Grant Morrison and Tony Daniel were telling, but the weird, like not uncanny valley, but like the unsettling Kubrick-esque Eyes Wide Shut tone that Court of the Owls had with Greg Capullo's art, and like the kind of like almost Lynchian aesthetic that Scott Snyder is kind of like going for with that story. It just, I prefer Batman R.I.P. as a story, but like as like a vibe, I really think Court of the Owls is something special. Like to the point where like I can't even get mad that like they're the same story. Just they're the same story, but like just they do different. They do it different. They do it different. That's just two legends coexisting at that point. But I don't know. Superior Spider-Man is just, it's the Michael Bay Explosions version of Kraven's Last Hunt, and I'm not into it. But I mean, it's coming back because Otto is coming back, I guess, which is weird because Otto should, if we're being like 100% here, like I think Otto should have stayed dead in the 90s. It's like a big thing I have with like most Spider-Man villains. I think a lot of their deaths, like their original deaths, worked really well, and just bringing them back is a mistake. Bringing Norman back from the dead was a mistake. Bringing Otto back was a mistake. Bringing Kraven back, massive mistake. Just, these things shouldn't have happened. Bringing Mysterio back from the dead, a mistake, because he had a really good death in Daredevil, Not Born Again, Guardian Devil. But yeah, I don't know. And would you rather have the main ASM book be actually good, and have Peter Parker be an actual adult, and his wife Mary Jane, and I mean, you ask this question all the time. Like, yeah, I mean, I would like for Peter to be an adult, but at this point, the Peter MJ relationship has been so fucked with. Like, I don't even really need Peter to settle down with MJ at this point. I just want Peter to like just be written and treated like a 35-plus-year-old man. I just need that. That'd be nice. It seems like this from 1610 man. Oh, what's up, 1610? How you doing, man? It seems like modern age fans from 1986 onward hate golden, silver, and bronze age comics because they are ashamed of their comics being seen as campy stuff for kids. But like it kind of was seen as campy stuff for kids. Like it was written with that express purpose. Maybe not golden age comics. Golden age comics went hard. Then again, like kids in the 30s and 40s kind of went hard. So like, like I would like talk to my late grandmother about like her childhood and just fucking built different, dog. Like Jesus. But also just like the way in which like culturally our mindset around what a child is and like also what a teenager is are relatively newer concepts. These are like post World War II era concepts. So that's like what, only looking at 70 something years? Not even, yeah. World War II ended in 1945, so that's... I'm bad at math. Because, hey, it's 69 years. That is perfect. Be amazing if World War III started this year. It wouldn't, but it'd be amazing if it did. The memer inside me would love it, but no. But yeah, like that's like the idea of the teenager, and like the child that goes to school, like by law has to go to school and all that. Like that, these ideas are less than 70 years old. Less than 70 years old. So just, I don't know. Kids were built different back in the 30s and 40s. But by the time you get to like the 50s and the 60s and even the 70s, yeah, comics are largely for kids. I'd argue they are for all ages, because they're written in a way where I think you can enjoy them as an 8-year-old and an 18-year-old, as well as a 28-year-old. I think you can enjoy like your average Spider-Man comic or your average like Superman comic or just anything in those like 3 eras of your life. But yeah, I don't know. There's a stigma surrounding comics that I think a lot of modern comics readers, they have this weird like shame. And I'm like, I don't know why feel shame? Why feel shame? It is what it is. Like, did you read my Blade comment earlier? I didn't see your Blade comment from earlier. Hold on a second. Did I miss it? Or were you joking about like, I don't know, the axe murder guy being Blade? I didn't see it. Let me know what it was, because I feel stupid now. 1610 says Earth 616 version Mayday Parker is alive and kicking with Norman Osborn in Europe. Oof. Cliffhanger never resolved or aborted by editorial and corporate overlords. That's also a thing that no one at Marvel has addressed. No one has brought up the idea of, because we never see that baby die. Like, Norman hands the like Mayday off to like one of the scientists he hired to fuck with Peter. So like, we haven't seen that kid in like 28 years. We don't know anything about if that kid actually died or if they're being held somewhere. You could even have a joke of like, now that Norman's good now, or I guess not for long because he's gonna be the Green Goblin again, but You could like have a whole thing where Peter goes up to Norman and he's like, "Wait, my kid's still alive? I have a child? What? You orchestrated this? Like, what's going on?" And Norman's just like, "Dude, Peter, son." I was doing so much cocaine back then. I don't remember what happened to that child. I forgot that whole plan existed. It'd be hilarious if someone did that. But I think at this point Marvel just wants to like play hush hush with that because I think largely people like to forget that whole clone era. Like, but like not forget it aesthetically because they keep going back to it. Like I guess they're trying to improve it, but the stuff that makes Peter look old, they're trying to get rid of. I don't know. How do you feel about the big game crossover story about Mark Miller? Oh man. Okay. So I got this bad boy. I got the Jay Lee cover because Jay Lee is a beast. Absolute beast. Absolute Chad. Big boy. I really like this book. If I had one problem with it, and it's not Mark Miller's fault, it's my fault. I just haven't read enough Mark Miller comics. I have read from his collection The Ambassadors very recently. I've read Empress. I've read part of Wanted. I don't think I've ever finished Wanted though. Although Wanted plays like a big part in this. I've read Nemesis Reloaded. I've read Kick-Ass up to Kick-Ass 3. I've read up to Kick-Ass 3. I haven't read New Girl, and I read part of the Hit Girl series, and it just kind of felt too zany. Like, it didn't feel like it fit that world, although now, like, reading this, it totally fits that world. But yeah, I haven't read MPH. I haven't read what's the name of the not Prophecy. I haven't read American Jesus, which I can imagine is gonna play a big role in this. I haven't read Starlight, so there's just this book just cued me into the fact that I haven't read nearly as much Mark Miller as I think I have, or would like to think I have, and I don't know. It's still cool though. This is still really cool. I am so glad they brought my boy back. Hold on a second, where is he? Where is he? Here we go. They brought back my boy Dave Lazowski. Hey, they brought back Kick-Ass, but he's like a mid-30s, like maybe pushing his early 40s, right now. So, also they say that like he's not a cop anymore. That's very interesting because Kick-Ass 3 ends with Dave putting being a superhero behind him, and he's like, no, I'm gonna be a cop. I'm like not a sexually frustrated teenager anymore. Like I'm getting laid, so I don't really feel like I want to be a superhero anymore. I like that idea a lot. That was really funny. So yeah, no, I am. Oh, what did I do? I just touched something. There we go. I am loving this. I am absolutely loving this. I love how this kind of takes everything from the Millerverse and it weirdly goes, everything goes together quite well in a weird way. I mean, there's some stuff here and there where I'm like, so just no one's gonna talk about this? Like the fact that I guess Kick-Ass exists in the same world as Nemesis. No one's gonna bring up the fact that, you know, there's that whole time when a bunch of like teenagers and like 40-something losers but also like the head of like a major East Coast like mobster family, uh, like all dressed up in like superhero and supervillain costumes and had like a gang war. No one's gonna talk about that. No one's gonna and like no one's gonna talk about like the whole Nemesis situation in Kick-Ass. Like that never gets brought up. I feel like these are things that would be addressed in other books, or at least like referenced as like little Easter eggs. But no, just, I don't know. It's still kind of weird for me. I am suspending a lot of disbelief here because I'm going into this with a lot of good faith. This first issue, it really worked for me. I absolutely loved it. Then again, a lot of it is just I'm still really high off of the ending of Nemesis Reloaded and how it kind of ties into the ending of Wanted, which I guess I spoiled the ending of the first Wanted for myself, but I don't know. That's still a book that like I'm gonna read at some point in the near future. But yeah, I loved Big Game. It was really good, and if you are a Mark Miller fan, which if you are, that's cool. If you aren't, that's also cool. But if you are, definitely give this a read. It is like they say it on the back. This is like the sequel to Wanted is finally here after 20 years of waiting. But it's not just a sequel to Wanted. This is the sequel to everything. This is all Mark Miller coming together, and it works wonderfully, I think, so far. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. What do you guys think? If you guys checked it out at all. Question, what about Wally West as the Flash? Oh, that's easy. He's the best Flash. He's the Flash. Like Barry Allen, like okay, Jay Garrick is cool. I really like Jay Garrick as like the older, but I like him as like the older sage figure. Barry is great as the greatest superhero of all time who sacrificed his life for our sins. Like I like him as the Dead Flash from Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I like him as Silver Age Flash. He had a really good, like, 25 plus year stint on that book. And then I think Wally took over, and all the stuff that people love about the Flash currently comes from Wally. Like, all the rules about the Speed Force comes from Wally. Watching Wally, like, truly grow as a character over the course of, like, 23, 25 years. Like, I don't know, like, Wally's like the definitive Flash for me. Just is. And then when they brought Barry back, like, they brought him back, but he's like a different character now. Like, I don't know, man. Like, Wally's my Flash. And it kind of goes beyond just me growing up with him. I feel like even if I didn't grow up with him, he'd still be like, I'd see him as like the definitive Flash. Let's see. Do you believe the fall of X will kill Krakoa? I think that is a strong possibility. I know that Jonathan Hickman is writing an Uncanny Avengers book that sets up something that's going to happen with the fall of X. I don't necessarily know what that is. Then again, I haven't really been following the X-Men books after Jonathan Hickman got kicked off, so... dude, one of my buddies is like... He is die hard for Krakoa. Like he is all in. He is like probably got if you could give him the option to like have Krakoa like tattooed as like nipple tassels that form a chain down his belly, he'd probably do it I mean, you'd have to get him like really intoxicated to do it, but like he'd probably do it. But I don't know, man. I'm just. I think the Krakoa era started off interesting, and then they just kind of. They didn't learn their lesson, which has been the problem with X-Men since the 90s. Is you got too many goddamn books. You just got too many books. It's really hard to care about the brand when you're diluting it as hard as you are. Put it that way. It's a lot like Batman. Like, I get when people... Like, I love the current run on Batman by Chip Zdarsky, but a lot of people just aren't... They're not buying it because people are just fucking sick and tired of Batman. And I get it. I understand. Like, it just gets to a point where you're like, Jesus, enough is enough. It gets to that point. So, I don't know, that's where I'm at with the X-Men. Just too fucking much. Too much. But, oh well. I'll check out the Uncanny Avengers book because, you know, I like that team, and I really like the I like Hickman as a writer, so I'll see what is done with it. Superior, a stupider Spider-Man Ox downgrade. Yeah. James DeMatteis literally did Kraven's Last Hunt for Vulture as well. Is that the book where we find out that he has cancer? Because I haven't read that. I would like to, but I haven't read it. Largely just because James DeMatteis' run is not printed well, and I don't like pirating comics because, quite frankly, I don't like the way they look on a screen. I don't like reading comics on a screen. I prefer reading this. Like when I don't have to, if I don't have to look at a screen while doing an activity, I won't look at a screen. Which I guess is like ironic for a YouTuber to say, but I like have to wear those like sunglasses. They're not sunglasses. They look like just regular like horn rim glasses, but I have to wear those when I'm like doing stuff at my computer because I'm already, I don't know, my eyes just kind of feel strained. God, I'm getting old. I sound like a fucking old man. That was an old man sentence right there. It's pretty... Sorry. Dude, it looked like you said QAnon and then just led into Batman. But Supreme Omega says, question on Batman. As an adult, thoughts on Stephanie Brown's spoiler nowadays? Have you come to appreciate the character after reading the 90s and 2000s Bat-filming material? I mean, she's important to Tim in Cassandra's arcs. I've always... Maybe I haven't, like, verbalized it the best, but, like... Or maybe I've just always been, like, super hyperbolic with it, but... It's not that I didn't like... It's not that I didn't appreciate Spoiler. I appreciate what Spoiler represents, and I like the idea of that character. I just personally think she's annoying. Just personally as a character, I think she's annoying. I think for Tim and definitely for Cassandra, she's a really important figure in their lives and a figure like for their developments. But as a character, she is annoying to me. She just is. I like her in Smallville season 11. I mean, she's not really in Smallville season 11. It's technically Barbara Gordon, but Brian Q. Miller is writing that book, and I could have sworn I read somewhere that the Nightwing that we see in Smallville season 11 is supposed to be Stephanie Brown. Which, by the way, that Nightwing costume is amazing. It looks really good. And I really like the idea of, like, you know, within the Smallville universe, Bruce Wayne doesn't have a Robin. He has Nightwing. He just jumps to, like, the spunky kid. Not really a kid. She's like a college age student, but she jumps to, like, he like immediately goes like, all right, I need this street urchin is my new Robin, but she's Nightwing. I don't know. It's just really cool. DC really should have just let that be, like Stephanie. They really should have. I think it would have worked. Because wasn't Chloe that universe's version of Oracle? So just... And then, no, not Chloe. Well, I mean, technically Chloe. But, they get like Lex Luthor's sister. She ends up becoming like a digital robot waifu. So, I don't know, man. Like, you got two Oracles in this universe. You don't need Barbara Gordon, who also gets paralyzed by an evil version of Bruce Wayne from the multiverse, who turns out to be the Joker years before Dark Knight's Metal comes out. So, like, is that a coincidence, or is Scott Snyder, like, reading and enjoying Smallville season 11? I don't know. I'll have to ask him at some point. But I don't know. They do the whole thing where Joker paralyzes Barbara Gordon, and it's like, so we're setting up Oracle in a universe where we have like two other Oracles already. Okay, this could have just been Stephanie Brown. I don't know. But yeah, I do appreciate Stephanie Brown as a character and like what she brings to the table within the Bat family. 1610 Man says Stephanie Brown, the Barbara Gordon Jr. saga. A little bit. Although she's very different from Barbara. She is a little different from Barbara. Comic book fans quotes, "Bro, the original death should have stayed." I mean, in a lot of cases they should have. Like, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Or am I right? I think I'm right. The 1610 Man says the pop culture viewing comics as kid stuff never fades away. That's true. So just at that point, it's like, why even try to like shy away from it? Just go, yeah, I like this thing that is like largely for kids. You know who also does that? People who play video games. Video games still have a rap of like being for kids and being childish. Adults still play them and enjoy them and say, yeah, fuck off. I don't know why a lot of people in comics can't do the same. True Omega, legacy characters in general, abused, mistreated, killed off, and forgotten until another edgy update. New readers or old readers, nostalgia bait. I agree as much as I disagree with that statement. I don't think every legacy hero has to be like an abused victim type character, but a lot of them turn out to be. But sometimes you don't get that. Sometimes you get Tim Drake, who's just a kid who just, I like Batman. I want to help Batman. Yeah, that's it. I can't think of anyone else. Damn, that's kind of a shame. I mean, it makes sense, but it's still kind of a shame. I'd rather read Cassandra Cain Batgirl. Same here. War games will leave fans crying for a retcon. Dude, that's absolutely true. Um, the Millerverse shared universe crossover sounds really cool. It is really cool. It's taking characters from like older books, but also like just aging them in real time. Like the protagonist from Wanted, with the main guy like who looks like Eminem. This is him. This is him, but like 20 years older. Dave Lazuski is like 10 or 15 years older than he was when we left off with him in Kick-Ass 3. The guy who's like the genius. Starts with a P. Prodigy. Prodigy. Wow. Prodigy. Prodigy is like a big part in this book, which I haven't read Prodigy, but like I'm going to now. Yeah, dude. Like, yeah, everything in this book just kind of makes me want to go back and like recollect all the Mark Miller books that I read but don't have. Read what I do have, and buy what I don't have and didn't read. I'm interested to see what some other stuff in this world counts and doesn't count, because they show that Jupiter's Legacy is a movie series and a comic book series in this world. So I'm wondering if they're going to say the same thing for Superior, which would make sense ultimately, because Superior shows like the entire financial district of Manhattan flattened by a superhero who's like basically their universe's version of like Shazam. I mean, it's really Superman, but like he has like the Shazam. It's a little kid who makes a deal with a supernatural entity and then he gets powers. Like it's Shazam. But yeah, no, the rules are they're still fleshing it out. So we're gonna have to see where Mark Miller goes with a lot of these ideas. But yeah, still really cool, and I love Pepe Larraz's art. Like he does like this is like a really cool like Bat Cave. It's not really the Bat Cave, but it's like a superheroes who's been dead for like 40 years because wanted. They do the whole like superheroes used to exist kind of thing, and now they're existing again. That's like the big problem, or not the problem. That's like that's what gets the ball rolling in this book. The fraternity basically is responding to the events of the ambassadors. So if you haven't read the Ambassadors plays a big part in the story. So like the Ambassadors short version, Willy Wonka with superpowers. A woman from South Korea figures out how to crack the human genome and edit like what makes you human, and be able to give you superpowers. So that book sets the stage for this, because the fraternity from Watchmen is like, all right, we killed superheroes in like 1986, which I think is a very interesting year to say that superheroes died, because that's when Crisis on Infinite Earths came out. So I think that's a very maybe that's just like coincidence, but maybe Mark Miller's going somewhere with that. I don't know, but definitely saying that 1986 is the year superheroes died, knowing that he's like as big a DC Comics fan as he is. I don't know. Maybe there's something there, but basically, the Ambassadors program is jump started. You have all these superheroes popping up around the world, and they are like actually superheroes. All from like every country in the world except for America. They're still trying to get someone from America, or I guess the United States, because South America counts as America too. But like they're trying to get somebody from the United States to represent them. And you have like Dave Lasuski who's trying to apply. That's, I don't know. That's still pretty funny. But yeah, man. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to see where this whole thing goes. Huntress, another forgotten legacy character. No, she's not forgotten. She's been in stuff. She was in that she was just in Detective Comics, apparently. Not like the current one, but the Mariko Tamaki book. So she's been in stuff. She's also like not technically a Bat Family member. You know, she is original Red Hood. Before Red Hood became a Bat Family member. Supreme Omega says, even though I like her, or even though I like Cass, her fans can be a bit much. If you want my hot take, I feel like Cass can kind of come across a bit overpowered, and I still resent Huntress was done dirty. No, I agree with that. I think Huntress is definitely she got the shit end of the stick for a long while. And I the thing with Cassandra that I really like is that she is like physically overpowered, but when it comes to like being a person, she is handicapped. She is at a strong disadvantage. She cannot connect with people very well. And I wish that got played up more. I wish you would show like Cassandra trying to go on a date, and the guy or girl that she's with they're like, you're weird, or just like trying to have friends, trying to go to school, trying to do like human things, like going to the store. Just show that like Cassandra cannot function as a person. I think that would be really cool. Like she's an expert at like, she can kick your ass in 10 different ways, but if you have her just like trying to ask someone for like, hey, where's the soup aisle, and she like accidentally like like punches a toddler, or like punt kicks a toddler down like the the frozen food section because she's like, enemy. I don't know. There's something there. It's just no one really plays with that idea. Yeah, Marvel and DC, when it comes to the legacy characters, we gotta prop up the most popular new stuff and let that's. I saw a post on Twitter earlier about how James Gunn and Peter Safran it'd be a bad look if you guys just passed over Tim Drake, because he's the only bi Robin, and that could look bad for you guys. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You biphobes, you homophobes. Anyway, I guess like optics, yeah, it'd probably look bad, but like, this is something that's been going on for like over a decade at this point. As far as I think DC is concerned, marketing wise, Damian is the new Robin. He is the only Robin that matters. Tim Drake, you had your time in the sun, but it's time to get going. It's time to hit the run. It's time to go, buddy boy. Like that's been the case for like over a decade. But I think it's like When does Morrison's run begin? Like 2007? Like since 2007? It's like 15 or so years. Yeah, man. Like DC's been kicking Tim Drake to the curb for a long while now. It doesn't have anything to like really do with his sexuality. It doesn't. It's just Damian exists, and DC doesn't know what to do with Tim Drake now that Damian exists. I really think that's just what it is. I don't know why, but I read that as Superman Legacy at first. Dude, that's a movie I'm like kind of nervous about. I love James Gunn, but Superman Legacy kind of has me a little worried because it feels like it's running into the same. I don't necessarily want to say problems because I genuinely like BVS. Like I like that movie, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that like people's problems with that film are unwarranted or they're like not sound. There are a lot of people who just I would like to see a sequel to Man of Steel as just a Superman movie. That would have been nice. I could see that. And I'm in that camp. I also wish we could have just gotten a Man of Steel too. But we're seeing a lot of the same things with Superman Legacy as we saw with BVS. There is a lot of... It potentially feels like Superman Legacy is going to be a launching pad movie for the DCU. Like, you're gonna have Superman in this movie, and it's gonna be more so about Superman and his effect on the larger DC universe, and you're gonna have all these cameos of other superheroes in the DC universe, and it's all gonna lead into Justice League or like the next phase of the DC universe. It feels like it's gonna be that kind of movie in the same way that BVS was that kind of movie, and I like BVS. I'm probably going to like Superman Legacy because I just like James Gunn's style, but I can't sit here and just say I would have liked to just see a Superman movie. Just a Superman movie. In the same way that the Batman gets to have his solo Batman adventures, I would have liked to see that with Superman, but oh well. Oh, good night, W. But yeah, that's me getting off my soapbox. I don't know. But yeah, to 616 or 1610 man's actual question or I guess their statement. Superhero legacies would be better if there was a streamlined universe that gives everybody a beginning, middle, end trilogy format. Move the story forward with legacy characters. I agree. That's ideally what I want out of these characters in these universes. That's what I think really works about the Flash. That's one of the few legacies alongside Batgirl where there's a clear, definitive, or I guess up until recently, like the past 10 years or so. But there's like a clear, definitive, like you see these mantles get passed off. That's what I think works with the Flash legacy very well. That's what I think works with Barbara Gordon. Well, not just Barbara Gordon. There's Betty Kane. Then there's Barbara Gordon. Then there's Cassandra. And then there's Stephanie. I don't know. I think I think those are like the two legacies that really work at DC. I'm trying to think of like great legacies at Marvel, but I can't really think of any. But legacy's not really a big thing at Marvel, or at the very least, not in the same way that it is for DC. Like there's Ant-Man. Oh, there's Ant-Man. out of that. I don't know. But yeah, then again, Legacy isn't really Marvel's thing. That's DC's thing. What the fuck happened to Helena Wayne? That's a good question. I just think she died. And if not, well then she's in. There's a version of Helena Wayne in Tom King and Clay Mann's Batman Catwoman. In an ideal world, I'd rather see. Oh, I already. Oh, I'd see Barbara Gordon as the new commissioner of Gotham. That's cool. I could also see that. I still wish that Commissioner Gordon stayed retired after Officer Down. I still think that would have worked very well, but I guess DC had to bring Commissioner Gordon back. Because that's the thing they had to do. Didn't Cassandra try to smash Superboy? She for a little bit, and then DC just gave up on the ship and had Cassandra go like, "Let's be friends," and then they were never seen together ever again. Tim Drake's popularity died with DC. Tim verse and Morrison run. Like the Bruce Timm verse. I mean, Bruce Timm is like, he made Tim Drake like his primary Robin. Yeah, Morrison did. Morrison fucked Tim Drake over real hard, really hard. Supreme Omega says, also in the Bat family, do you feel Bruce Wayne was needlessly harsh on both Huntress and Spoiler? I feel Bruce's tensions with Helena and Steph should have ended after No Man's Land during the whole like 2000s New Gotham era. Yes, I agree, but just Bruce Wayne in that whole era, I think it's out of character. Like I get they're trying to do the whole like he's intense and angry and it's a tense situation, but like he just comes off like a dick. And I do think he should have been a little warmer towards Spoiler and Huntress. Maybe not Huntress, because Huntress is like an actual killer, but like, you know, definitely Spoiler. Gunverse sounds like MCU version of the DC universe. Amen. It could very well wind up being that. I will say the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker weren't that. They weren't. So I'm at the very least interested to see what the new DCU looks like. Even though with James Gunn running it, after watching Peacemaker, I think I know what James Gunn's sensibilities with DC are, and I disagree with them. I think James Gunn is very much like a Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Conner type. I think he's one of those guys who they love the DC universe, but whenever they tell stories in the DC universe, like they're often like comedies, and the punchline is DC continuity and DC history and DC lore. Like, isn't it so silly that these stories take place in comics? Like, that's the vibe I get from a lot of the Palmiotti and Connor stuff. I feel like James Gunn could very easily be one of those creators. Hope I'm wrong, but I could also see that. Like, I could totally see like us going to the Fortress of Solitude, and there being like offhanded jokes about like, oh, this is so weird and silly. Like, remember that time that you had a whole Sun Eater as a pet? That was silly. Or do you remember Superman when I turned myself into a black woman? Like, you have Lois Lane bring that up, or someone brings that up about Lois, and She just it's like, oh, she cringes. Like, I don't know. I feel like James Gunn is very much in that style and tone when it comes to the DC universe. But he does it so well that I kind of don't notice sometimes, or I don't necessarily have the same problems that a lot of people have with it. Just because I think he's really good at doing what he does. Legacies aren't Marvel's thing, but fans still scream for passing of the mantle. In some cases, yeah. Like I think definitely Spider-Man should pass the mantle, and I feel like it should have been passed a while ago at this point. I feel like Peter Parker definitely should have been like, all right, I'm a husband. I'm a not a father, but like I'm a husband. I gotta focus on being a father. I gotta put Spider-Man behind me. I think that should have happened already. I think that really should have happened decades ago. Outside of that, I don't know, like Captain America, I guess. Like, I think Falcon. I think not Falcon. I think Sam Wilson should have been Captain America a long time ago. So yeah, there's just a lot of characters who I think really should have been something that they're not, and it should have happened a while ago, but it'd be like that. What can I tell you? I feel like I said that to you like twice now though. Supreme Omega says, I feel Bruce Timm has gotten way too much praise. I feel I feel the success of the DCAU is from other people like Paul Dini and Dwayne McDuffie and Alan Burnett. I think it was definitely a team effort, but like, I mean, Bruce Timm is like the leading art director, and in a lot of cases like director of like a lot of episodes. So I don't know. He definitely deserves. He deserves his name on the DC Hall of Fame, but I also think a lot of those other guys should be thought of in the same regard. I think a lot of those guys should be thanked and honored for like the way DC is kind of like interpreted now by a lot of people, because a lot of people, as far as they're concerned, the DC universe begins and ends with the DC animated universe. So I don't know. I feel McDuffie and Paul Dini are definitely they're getting some of Bruce Timm scraps, if you will. But I mean, I kind of feel you on that. Wolverine passing the torch to X-23 sounds like a good story idea. Dude, okay, so that's like a thing that I've had in my head ever since X-23 officially became Wolverine. One of my big problems with there being two Wolverines, specifically X-23 and Logan, is that I feel like Logan would give that mantle, or say that mantle is like he would bless it to X-23 and take a step back and just be Logan, because that would also be cool. Like, just you can still tell Wolverine stories with Logan, just title the book Logan, and he's maybe not wearing the costume anymore. Like, I don't know why Marvel can't skip on that. I don't know. That's just where I've been since, I think, like, 2016, when I think that's like one of the first post Secret Wars comics, like the X-23 Wolverine book. I don't know. I still think that would have been dope. I still think that would be dope. Bruce Timm, art and idea man. He has some story ideas too that I think are really cool. I would, I wouldn't go too deep on the man. Paul Dini, Dwayne McDuffie, and Alan Burnett, writers and collaborators. They definitely were. And I think like Dwayne McDuffie did excellent job with a lot of the DC animated universe stuff. As did Paul Dini. Paul Dini wrote my favorite episodes of Batman the Animated Series. So, as far as I'm concerned, my man's he's the guy. He's that guy. Supreme Omega says, on Saga, if you want my hot take on Brian K. Vaughan, I feel he has the same creative problems as Whedon. Overuse of cripply humor and shocking deaths. Yeah, but Brian K. Vaughan just comes from that era. He just comes from that school of thought. And I think at the end of the day, like, Saga is still written well enough to the point where it's not bothersome. 1610 Man says, trilogy format, beginning, middle, end, with the heroes' top 3 big arch enemies. Sounds like a great idea in theory. In theory, but everything sounds like a great idea in theory. That's why it's theory. But yeah. Actually, I'm gonna hop off. I'm super dog ass tired. I took my girlfriend out for like a super late dinner. It was her birthday yesterday. I am drained, and I had to go to work today. I'm tired. But hopefully we get some more news from San Diego Comic-Con for the upcoming Spider-Man game, because I want to stream that, or I want to at least talk about it if we see something cool. If we don't, then we don't. But like, it'd still be cool if something got released. That'd be awesome. I'm also gonna work on my reels, because I don't know why, like, my live streams come out alright. I don't know why my videos come out alright, but I don't want, like, my my reels, like my YouTube reels, not reels, shorts. The shorts, they just keep coming out like super quiet. I don't know what that's about, but I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. I'm gonna try to fix it. But yeah, guys. Supreme Omega says, creatively, when did people start turning on Whedon? When did he stop being the critical darling? Age of Ultron. That's when people got sick and tired of it. I think a lot of people were already... I think people within comics and geek culture were already kind of tired of it. But when it became the industry standard, like when everyone had to be a quippy, silly, irreverent, flippant, too smart for their own good, egotistical, like, bundle of, like, quips, that's when people started getting like, alright, this shit's gone. Enough's enough. Like, you had the Jim Ross, like, enough's enough. That's where people are now. And they've been that since like I guess the past 8 years. Damn, Avengers the movie is a boring TV movie. Well, shit, I wouldn't go that far. It was really big at the time. Let's not downplay let's not downplay the first Avengers movie. It was really big at the time. It was still really fun. It's hard to go back to. It is definitely aged like spoiled titty milk that's been left in the sun for the past 10 years. But let's not fake like it wasn't on point at the time. But yeah, on that note, guys, thank you very much for coming by. I appreciate it mucho much. And yeah, I'm going to see you guys in the near future. Thanks. Alright, take care. Adios, nachos. Adios.